In a world populated by lizard people, a sound is heard in the distance, crunchy yet soothing. The rumbles of nerd talk, the anger at Wizards of the Coast, the happiness of managed democracy. Welcome to the Depths of Jigoku podcast. We are DreadPirate.
What's up, guys?
BiPoe.
Hello.
And I am Kain. What's that? A voice off in the distance? A traveler? Raiders, perhaps. In a bejeweled sombrero, a hooded figure approaches. KickenBeans, the third and new host to join on our travels.
What up, everybody?
I love that.
I've just tried to do new shit, man.
That one got me smiling most of the time. But before we get into this, I just want to have a little caveat and say, guys out there, guys, girls, whoever's listening, if you are going through something, no matter what it is, no matter how stupid you feel it is, if it's making you feel some type of way and you can't keep it in and you can't deal with it in healthy ways, reach out to somebody, man. Reach out to your friends, reach out to your homies. There's nothing that they're going to do to make you feel worse. And they're always going to be there for you. And all of us would always rather hear your bullshit, hear your crying, hear whatever's wrong in your life than ever have to go to your funeral. So keep an eye on your mental health, everybody.
No shame in reaching out.
None whatsoever.
All right, on to something slightly happier. Lara Croft's pinups were removed in the remake of 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, I saw that, and people were livid. And I saw pictures of those pinups. Why would you remove them? Ain't nobody getting off, like, at least not anymore, on a very square boobied woman.
I don't know, those 8-bit. Where was that, man?
Yeah, I get it, but also, like, there's better shit. Open Facebook, you get a better view.
I mean, nowadays, yeah.
You go onto social media. Every other chick you went to high school with is like, hey, come to my site.
That's true.
Yeah, there's so much free content out there nowadays, whether it's intended to be free or not, but it's out there.
It's not like you have to look for it anymore. I remember when I first started looking up stuff to be a young man to, and like I had to go deep into the internet to find even like small. What was the original like video player? Small shockwave videos, and it was just like there was no way to blow them up. So you just get this tiny screen that you're just like, all right, this is gonna have to work for me.
That 200 by 200p screen.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, in a stunning twist of events, Sony is re-adding them due to the backlash. It's not out yet. They're still currently removed. But enough nerds complained about square titties for Sony to re-add them.
You think it was the square titties part? Or it was them just like, stop fucking with our games. Like, we get it.
Dude, I want to say it's the latter, but it's definitely the first one.
I mean, those titties are just a cult classic now.
I mean, they are. Did you see the fucking picture of the chick the chick dude? You couldn't really tell who cosplays the original Tomb Raider, Lara Croft.
Can't say that
squared. Oh my god! Look it up on the internet. It looks just like the first video game, all square and shit, but like painted better.
Fair. Did she do like the? They're doing it on cars now, like the anime style paint.
No, they were still pretty bland colors, but to be more like what she looked like in the game, just they popped a little bit more than the video game itself. But you're talking mid 90s, so it's not like colors were the biggest or the easiest thing to put in games. All the games that came out back then, now that I think about, were so dark.
Well, yeah, you were rocking a CRT TV, which I'm pretty sure gave you the same kind of poisoning a microwave gives you if you sit too close.
Like all of us did.
Yeah.
CRT TVs literally ruined your eyeballs if you sat too close.
Yeah.
So
and it was worth it. We got We all got shitty eyes. We got really cool 64-bit video games, and we got a whole generation of really attractive girls that are forced to wear glasses.
Yeah.
Which I will argue on a lot of them makes them more attractive.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, there it is. You got it.
Oh, nice. I'll have to add this photo in post editing for a few seconds. Like, just enough for us not to get copyright claimed.
Yeah. But would it be copyright? Would it be copyright claim? It is a cosplay. It's not an official product. They didn't make it. They just have the intellectual rights to it. Yeah,
dude, there's a guy suing a dude that he stabbed at college because they did not meet his needs as an autistic person. Like, he is in jail right now for stabbing somebody, and he's suing the college for not meeting his needs as an autistic person. Copyright everywhere now.
Is part of it that he's... Wait, oh, fuck, I lost my train of thought with that one.
Well, he wasn't diagnosed...
Is he blaming them for him stabbing somebody? That's what I'm wondering.
No. It's
okay.
He wasn't diagnosed with autism till after the case, while he was in prison. And so he's already been declared guilty. Dude's in jail. He's suing them because the college didn't meet his needs, and he went into an autistic rage, which is something I recently found out about, and stabbed somebody. Just like straight right in the gut. Dude lived. I'm pretty sure it was a dude. But they lived. They pled against them, all that stuff. But news is wild nowadays.
Did they say what he stabbed him with?
I don't know. I need to look that up later.
I feel like an asshole. All I can think about is like somebody with a little bit of autism raging out, and it's just like full rage barbarian at a D&D or something.
Or like when Timmy rages out and from
yeah.
I'm not against it, but I don't want to be close enough to get stabbed. Getting stabbed sucks.
I think that this is going back to the days is why I always befriended all the people who are like, you might shoot up the school, won't you?
Bro.
I'm going to be on your side.
Hi, I'm DreadPirate. Nice to meet you.
And probably stop them shooting up a school by befriending them.
Yeah.
I do my service to society here.
Ancillary wins. Okay. Fuck it. Let's keep down the video game train. WoW's 20 years old.
No.
Yeah, that hit me right in the age.
God damn it.
Seriously. I mean, I've spent way too many hours into that game way back in the day during the vanilla days.
That means I have a 19-year-old set of 5 discs laying around somewhere in my house.
Shit, your 5 discs can almost drink. They can get in student debt right now. But yeah, WoW's 20 years old, man. Like, fuck. I know for their 15th, I'm curious to see what they do. Because for their 15th anniversary, I think it was their 15th anniversary, they updated all their servers. And they epoxy encased all the original WoW servers and then put what server it was, what region it was, what its IP address was, etched into the epoxy. And they sent them, without letting these people know, sent them to people's houses that have had subscriptions from the very first game until then.
Holy shit.
Just free WoW server.
That's badass.
What are you going to do with a random fucking server, though? I mean, it's just like, hey, this is my...
You mount that bitch on your wall.
How big are the servers, though? Are you talking like the full stacks or like individual?
No, they're like little 4 tall blades. So they're probably like 4 inches wide and 8 to 10 inches tall, and then like 28 inches deep.
That is not what I pictured in my head. I pictured like them just showing up with a whole stack.
Just fucking DHL shows up and is like, where do you want your WoW server? What? It's like all my dreams and fears have now happened.
And it was far more amusing in the way I was thinking about it. Showed
I
up
mean,
to some
those people
one
that
bedroom
have-
apartment. I was like, what do you want? I was like, I don't fucking know.
It's like,
For those people that have all that amount of time into it, that's just like a badge of honor for them now.
yeah, for the 10-year, they sent like this 2.5-foot tall, I think it was aluminum bust of the leader of the orcs, just being a badass.
That's dope.
So I'm super curious to see what their 20-year is.
Are they even going to do one, though, since you think that since they just got bought out?
They're still, I mean, WoW probably
fair.
makes them so much money still. What's the active player count on WoW right now?
You think Microsoft's going to fuck up WoW even more than WoW fucked up WoW?
No, it's the only thing Blizzard's got going for 'em, man. So I think they're just gonna let them ride, let them do their thing. Now every other IP they have,
140 million players still.
oh, that's their total count. 140 million independent players had accounts at one point. The active player count for March of 2024 averaged around 7.25 million at any given hour
Holy fuck.
and peaked
That
at
is-
8.27 million active players.
That is still way higher than fucking even.
Bro,
Oh,
WoW
that is-
Classic in March had an average of 8.27 million active players.
Jesus.
And they're getting ready to fuck it up with Cataclysm.
Did they already come out with Wrath? New updated Wrath?
Yeah, Wrath came out relatively quickly, about the same timeline it came out for us. Because WoW Classic's like 5 or 6 years old now. But
Oh shit.
yeah, I played it for like a year, a solid year. I got to where I was doing Molten Core pretty regularly, and then I was like, I need to stop.
You having non-flashbacks of when we were fucking teenagers?
Dude, it was fun, but I was like, I'm not showering. This is a problem. Like I recognized when I have a problem.
I have been out in the sun 3 times this past week. Last week's beach trip, today's beach trip, and the boat trip yesterday. And I'm darker than I ever was when we were in high school playing all these fucking playing WoW and D&D.
That's
3
what happens
days
when
it took me to
you're
get darker.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of a night crawler as it is, so makes sense.
Valid. That's fair.
Bro, the player counts are wild, man.
That blows my mind that many people are still into it. Now, I wonder how many of those people are OGs, like actually OGs, or people who are as opposed to people who are either just getting into it or started much later, like in what is it, Mist of Pandaria?
Yeah, that was a big bump. So I mean, we'll find out this number soon. I'm sure the items they're getting are already shipped. But for the server, it was only people that had an active account from before Burning Crusades, like before the drop date of Burning Crusades, all the way up until the 15-year mark. So they had to have no pause in payment.
Wow.
While I've
Yeah.
been playing a long time, I played for a long time, I constantly couldn't afford the $15.
Yeah, right? Like,
I
That is
spent way too
so
much money on
funny.
car parts back then.
and I think it was something like 300-ish servers went out.
Damn.
So they got rid of all the servers this way, except for like 2 that are one's in Blizzard headquarters Europe, one's in Blizzard headquarters here. But yeah, I know they ran out of servers to the point to where they were like 2 or 3 people away from people that had it at launch day all the way up until the 15-year mark. So
Oh, wow.
there's probably going to be at least a couple thousand.
Easy. I'm pretty sure I, at one point, know one of them who still, I almost can, at least one, I can almost guarantee has not stopped playing since we knew them.
Jeremy?
No.
I used
Remember
to.
that? You remember that dude Tyler?
Yeah, he's
That
another
fucking-
sweaty one.
That fucking weirdo.
Yeah, he is a weirdo. That's a fact.
But yeah, I think
Some-
because I got Jeremy like had to have been before Burning Crusades, because I remember him buying Burning Crusades for himself, and I paid for that dude's account until like I was 24, 25. I was well into my military career paying for that dude's account.
So on the topic of like WoW and MMOs, so WoW has an active monthly player of 5 to 6 million, and then with 1.2 daily active players. The next best is Final Fantasy at 800,000 monthly, 800,000 of 1.2 million monthly players, and then 1.2 daily active.
Wow.
Hold on, I'm trying to figure out
The
exactly
closest
how much.
Isn't even barely close.
And then the third follow-up is Guild Wars 2.
So
Which I
Blizzard
actually-
be
I
making
also have that one.
$22.5 million a month off just WoW.
And they still fuck it up.
Yeah, yeah, royally. Like the fact that they released an expansion for WoW Classic pissed me off.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so WoW Classic, they started off and kept it on the same timeline as regular WoW. So like Burning Crusades came out at the 2-year mark, Wrath of the Lich King came out at the 4-year mark, and then I think Mists is out and Cataclysm is coming out soon if it hasn't just released. Like it's either like it was the first of this month or it's tomorrow kind of thing.
It is releasing May 20th.
I was fucking close. I was 3 weeks off. But yeah, they're fucking up WoW Classic. Like I just want WoW 1 to 60 molten core attunement runs, molten core runs, fucking up noobs. Like I miss the good old days. Miss EverQuest, goddammit. EverQuest is cool because you'd go to the new player starting area and you just drop gold coins every couple 100 feet and you'd lead them to the black dragon. And then you'd sit back and watch them because as soon as they aggro the black dragon, they could run, right? But the black dragon's aggro crossed realms, so he'd take off on this dead ass run with this giant black dragon chasing his ass, and he'd go to the player starting area, and it would just aggro everybody in the player starting area, and it would take him like 4 days for people to get a team together to kill him.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So
Fucked up and would be very angry.
you just fucking wreck noobs. And you know it was a dude starting like an alt character when he would appear in the starting area and beeline out. Just like into the woods.
That was one I never played, but I always wanted to, because I remember being in middle school, and back then that was when I was really into the original Baldur's Gate, because I found it at this random computer shop, and it was like $20, and my mom said yes.
It's fair. EverQuest is the reason I got my first job.
Yeah, I had a buddy who just played he played EverQuest on the opposite side, and the way he would explain this to me, and I remember this kid being a super nerd. I was a nerd, I've always been a nerd, but this kid was like, kind of looked like Squeaks.
Okay.
Oh man.
That kind of nerd. But and he would explain it to me with such joy and like excitement of EverQuest. It always made me want to play it. But if I remember correctly, didn't EverQuest have a monthly subscription?
It did. It was like, I think it was the same as WoW's, $15 a month.
Well, at that point, I was too young to even think about how I would make money other than mowing lawns. I don't fucking mow lawn. I lived in a goddamn trailer.
So I started in EverQuest. I bought the original game and you got 3 months free. Mm-hmm. So I really liked it. So I went and bought all the expansions, and at the time there was like 6 expansions, but you got 3 months free every time you you put in the key code for the expansion. So I would wait till I was a day before the end of my 3 months, load another expansion, enter the key code, and be like, 3 more months, yay! I did that for like 2 years, dude.
That is a very smart way to do it for a child.
Yeah, and then I went and got a job. But yeah, the technological jump between EverQuest and WoW was so substantial that everybody I know that played EverQuest immediately jumped over. Because in EverQuest, it would be like move 5 spaces, and you would have to /command type that in. There wasn't controls.
Really?
Yeah, say you wanted to make a potion, you had to have the recipe written down in a notebook because the internet sucked back then. So you had to have the recipe written down in a notebook, and you had to put the commands in the correct order with the correct durations to cook actual potions. Like, shit was wild in the EverQuest years.
But it always, I was kind of came under the understanding from her hearing about it that the story was phenomenal on it.
The story was phenomenal, and the ability, like the things that happened in the community were amazing. Because there was a forum and people would throw parties on certain servers. You'd go to like an EverQuest rave, and just like, it was dope. EverQuest was the shit. And then WoW came out and you could WASD move around, and everyone was like, fuck typing. And immediately jumped over.
That's hilarious.
But all of those OG players are phenomenal typers now.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably couldn't type the same words per minute now that I could back then. Even spending all day on a computer. Like, just, I was so quick. Because to cast spells, you had to fucking command task a spell. You had to type out everything you wanted to do. So
really?
you'd get real quick at typing. Just certain words. Like you couldn't string a sentence together, but you could be like, player, move, left, 5 spaces, cast, fireball, target, black dragon, head. You just like pound it out.
I gotta be honest, I got fast through typing in high school because I took typing class twice.
I wish I did. I've never taken a typing class, and I'm terrible at typing because of it.
I didn't think I would enjoy that class because I fucking I got so good at falling asleep in class. I would be sitting straight up, hands underneath like the piece of paper, just rack the fuck out. And until the teacher was like, DreadPirate. They're like, what? I'm typing.
So typing class is the reason you're a degen. That's what I'm hearing.
Pretty much. So I took it a second time, so I passed it. And it just turned out I got really quick at typing because of it. So in the long run, good decision.
Yeah, I actively avoided typing class, and you could blindfold me, and I could type and spell things correctly without looking at the keyboard or the screen and type out what you're saying. But if my eyes are usable, I'm a pecker. Like, I have to stare at the keyboard. I have like 3 fingers on one hand and 2 fingers on the other I use, and they're not adjoining fingers. It's like index and pinky. And that's how I type. It's fucking ridiculous, man.
Fucking caveman.
Yeah. But if you blindfold me, I can do it all day long. Like, if I have nothing to look at, I'm a great typer.
That's hysterical. Yeah, my type back then used to just be like two finger poking the heck out of the keyboard and being able to get by that way. Whereas now, where I work in front of a computer all day, every day, with my right hand, I can like properly place it on the keyboard and type correctly, and then my left hand, I'm still kind of pecking along. So I'm halfway there.
I mean, you gotta start somewhere.
The best typer here is the only one that doesn't work at a computer.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, at one point I did, and it's not to say it's not going to happen again.
Oh, true.
Can't live that bar life forever, man.
Oh, are you thinking about an adult job? First you buy an adult car, now you're thinking about an adult job. What has happened to you?
He's a grown up now.
I'm a big kid now.
I might get you a Fisher Price wrap for your car.
Don't you fucking touch my new car.
No, wait till it's out here. It's got a couple dings in it. But while you're at work one of these days, I'm gonna just Fisher Price wrap it.
You know what? Honestly, I'd drive that bitch around a bunch. Absolutely would. Go well with the black wheels.
I worked with a dude that had a Mini that was wrapped like that with a Hayabusa motor in it. And it was doing burnouts in a Mini is the most terrifying burnout you're ever going to do.
I have only driven a Mini once, and it was not a Hayabusa Mini. I was never more terrified that a Kia was going to run me over in my entire life.
I'm getting Mini and Smart Car mixed up. He had a Smart Car with a Hayabusa motor in it.
I was about to say the
Yeah,
smart car
I am
very
too.
common for that.
It's the smart car, the little two-seater, right?
Yeah, the little Mercedes thing.
I drove one once, and all I can think of, if anything hits me, even if I hit a bird, I'll die. Like, I know they turn into giant marshmallows when they do crash.
No, see, I always
It's but just still fucking science, bro. Very tiny.
I always thought that, and I watched a video of one getting hit by a train. Just random internet video. And they have a magnesium titanium chassis or something to that effect. I'm probably misremembering, this was years ago. But the chassis itself is so strong that, like, the person inside broke their arm from smashing into the chassis. It didn't even ding the fucking thing. It smashed all the panels and broke all the glass. But when they pulled it apart, the chassis was perfectly fine after getting hit by a train. So
Right, still, if I get hit the wrong way and I start rolling, the thing isn't going to stop rolling.
no,
for a while.
you're going to get blended,
Shaken or stirred?
right?
Definitely shake it.
Like when you
Yeah,
get
but
your
that
protein.
car,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, that car is, in the best Mercedes fashion, completely over-engineered. And it is stupid safe for how tiny and ridiculous that thing is.
But it's also so hideous.
That wasn't the goal, though.
Yeah.
Their goal was to make a cheap two-seater that was safe.
And could make it down Italian streets.
I get that.
And then the Americans put Hayabusa engines in it, and it was so much fun.
I need a sound clip of Home Improvement.
I mean, that's what it was when we were swapping that thing in there.
Oh, dude, I watched them do it in a barracks parking lot. It was fucking hilarious. They did it in a weekend, too. So it was just like, Smart Car looked fine. Friday night, Smart Car was all taken apart. The beer casings stacking up around it like a wall to hide their shame. And then Sunday, they were doing burnouts in the parking lot.
Jesus.
Yeah, there was one
Chassis of a
company. Oh, sorry, man. There was one company that made like adapter plates for the Hayabusa engine, and then like as soon as those adapter plates were released publicly, like it just was game over from there.
The chassis of a smart car is made out of a tritium steel safety shell. So it's a mix of like steel, like high strength steel, and other metals like titanium. Just to get you that question out there.
I was close.
You were.
So it's strong and
one
light.
for two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Ish.
strong, light. You guys talked about the train also survived a 70-mile-per-hour crash on Top Gear. They just look very stupid, and I will never see myself driving one. My buddy has one, and I'm
Glad we
like,
can all agree on that.
my buddy has one. He's like, dude, you should come up here and like get it. I'm like, I will come up there, but I will rather cut my hand off than be seen in one of these tiny things that I can't fit in.
So,
Oh, you'll fit in it.
so
No,
They're actually hella roomy on the inside, and I don't know how they made that work.
my friend's selling point to this is we will both fit because we're both big guys, but they have like offset diagonal seating. I'm like, I don't care if you have to like offset your seating for two people to fit in your car. I don't know if your car should be.
Those fucking cars are so
thing.
weird.
To be fair, if you've ever been in a Chevy truck or SUV, the steering wheel's crooked. It's been like this since
Yeah.
like 01.
So there's centered steering wheels and then there's off-center steering wheels, and like to Kane's point, Chevys, all GM vehicles, the steering wheels are off-center. So like when you sit in the driver's seat, the steering wheel does not sit centered to your lap. It is slightly to the left. Whereas like a Toyota, for example, you sit in it and the steering wheel is centered to the center mass of where you would be sitting in the cockpit.
Hey man, they got to move it over for all those freedom horsepowers.
I worked for Chevy and never noticed that.
It is the first thing I noticed getting in my Suburban.
It is such a small detail that like now that you know, the next time you get in one, you won't be able to see it, or you won't be able to not see it.
I gotta be honest, don't remember the last time I got into a Chevy to begin with.
Dude, it took me like a month and a half to Google it. I tried to fix this steering wheel on my Suburban for a month and a half. Like, was underneath the truck every day being like, what is fucked up? Measuring shit on the firewall, all kind of. Finally, I Google it, and Google's like, yeah, they're all off-center. I'm like, what? Fuck?
I can't believe I never noticed that. I guess because it just seemed more normal and that's all I was working on.
It's going to fuck you up in the future, man.
One day I'm gonna actually get another Chevy and just be like, huh, this shit's gonna make me feel weird.
So apparently some companies have decided to take the steering wheel and move it slightly off center due to packaging issues, crash safety, and airbag deployment. So that way when you get smacked by the airbag, you don't go straight back. You go slightly off to the side and not hit your head.
Dude, there's some engineer that made stupid money off that patent. just rolling in it like Scrooge McDuck.
So if the goal is to offset how the angle of how you're getting hit during an accident, of course, pending where you get hit from, it has an effect on this too. If you get hit from the side that you're sitting on and it pops you, what? I would think I'd be more worried about my neck than my head. My head's hard, man. I've hit it a lot.
I mean, it's
My spine a little fucked up.
It's not gonna like give you a left hook to where it's gonna spin your head around.
It just sandwiches you between your door and the fucking airbag.
But I'm also talking if it hits you hard enough, and you kind of fly that direction, if you miss the headrest, and it just kind of like your head just kind of whips around the side of the headrest. That's something I think about.
Shit, I need to pay more attention to chat. I might buy that 20th anniversary collector's edition. Sorry, I bounced back to WoW.
You're good.
That statue looks dope.
That statue does look dope as hell.
The War Within.
But yeah,
we don't need to get into WoW again.
No, my bad. I digressed. Yeah, I think it's weird. I figured it'd be more offset to send you to the center of the car. Well, I guess with side curtain airbags, they're hoping you literally get pinched between two pillows that hit like Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's slightly to the right, not the left. I was thinking the left.
So on GMs, it's to the left, but
okay,
that's also
jam.
Back when I used to turn wrenches, and side curtain airbags were a brand new invention at the time that like only Mercedes and other high-end vehicles had at the time.
Oh, I remember.
So like as side curtain airbags have come out, I'm assuming that's why they've started shifting to the right across all the makes and models and stuff. But it's still
see what
comical.
You're talking about.
It would be.
It is still comical looking.
It would be the Germans to figure out how to make you a human s'more.
I would feel so odd driving with two hands like that being off center. You're like your shoulders are slightly moved to the fucking right while you're driving.
So the photo of the Volkswagen, it looks like the same gen interior of the last one I had. and I didn't notice it once. I noticed it in
It
my
does
Suburban
look older.
immediately, but I didn't notice it in the Volkswagen.
Like
Wow.
here's a more new Volkswagen, and like it's not as far to the right, but your pedals are also like super crammed into that center dash.
That
Yeah, I
is
see that. That is so close to the dash.
that is the exact same generation, but with a black interior, not a tan interior. Those are both Mark 6s, my friend. Shit,
You're welcome.
the only difference between the bottom one and my car is I had the polished black trim, not the polished aluminum trim.
Yeah, in the same car. Beans.
All right,
Whoops.
moving on. Shit, we're on the RPG thing. Let's talk a little bit of D&D and D&D stuff. So, okay, I'm down for that one. We can do President of Wizards of the Coast quit right after after everything died down,
And gamers rejoiced.
right? Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see where Wizard of the Coast and Hasbro goes in the next direction with whoever they find to fill that role.
Not only that, that makes two big name gaming company CEOs stepping down in the past couple months.
Well,
I mean, Hasbro already got thirsty for money one time, and the communities pretty much smacked them on the hand and said no, and then they just kind of like redacted everything like it never happened.
they made it better than it never happened. They released 5th edition in a public domain.
True.
God, 4th edition was so bad.
It wasn't. It was just different than 3.5, our Lord and Savior.
And we wouldn't have the 5th edition we have today without the just oddball that 4th was when it came out, and like the
I did
6
not-
months it lasted.
I tried to get into 4th edition and I just couldn't get behind the new playing style and like I guess it not being as customizable anymore.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean,
It was jarring, the changeover, because you went from 3.5 that had almost infinite customization to 4th edition, which was literally designed to get new players. Like, it wasn't
Right.
designed for us heathens. It was designed for, we're trying to get young teens into D&D, so let's make this simple yet fun. And then 5th edition is a monogulation of that. Like, you got pretty good customization, not as much as I would like, but again, 3.5 is our Lord and Savior.
I mean, 3.5 and 3.0 were just like try to get new players after that AD&D fucking travesty that they had with Thaco.
You're not wrong.
The guys, we're never going to get new players if we keep doing this shit.
You must know calculus to play D&D.
yeah, but their solution to like getting around calculus was then releasing modern D&D, and that didn't work out very well either.
Dude, D20 Modern was cool if your DM could handle it. Like, things didn't scale right. You had to be a decent DM to make D20 Modern good. And I'm not saying I was. Both games I DM'd for that were fucking terrible. But, like, I've been to good ones.
I never played that one. I was always play adjacent to Modern, but never actually played in a campaign.
Dude, it was like if they
Oh.
took World of Darkness and smashed it up against 3.5.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put that, actually.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. I mean,
What die style was it?
it was 3.5.
Oh, still D20?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just a little bit more laid out, and like the fact that when you went to go choose your background stuff, that gave you a lot more than what 3.5 did, because 3.5 you could choose every little detail and get something from it as long as you could justify the story for it.
Mhm.
Whereas modern, that's kind of where the idea of like pre-built backgrounds started coming from, but
Okay.
they just gave you way too much, and they just threw the scale off for everything.
Oh, okay.
I like the pre-built backgrounds for 5th edition. I didn't think I would, but as a forever DM, I dig it because it forces the characters to play stuff they weren't expecting to play.
It's nice.
I mean, it's not like it's the first time we've played games where you don't have a choice. It's not a build. It's not a build your character, come up with a background style game like All Flesh, for example. Here's your people pick one.
All Flesh had a character creation portion. It was just pointless. It was just pointless. Like, you could make a custom cool character, but it was gonna die an hour into the game. Like,
that's fair.
Why put in
the
work?
I never read that. I never made it that far in the book. I only read like all the fucking characters. Like, you should pick one of these. Yeah, all right, fair enough.
That's what made All Flesh good, though, is like you'd burn through 4 or 5 characters at a 4-hour sit down.
Like you're playing a video game. I was like, what time to reset from your last save point?
Yeah. I hope with her stepping down, I don't know who Chris Cox is. Apparently he's the new CEO. Or is the current CEO of Hasbro, so that makes him the new CEO of Wizards of the Coast. I hope he takes some of that like Hasbro mentality of we are hemorrhaging money and everyone hates us and does something fucking good with Wizards. Like, I want one D&D to be good. I'm not a huge fan of jumping to a new system because I just got into 5th in the last 5 years. But it's supposed to be backwards compatible, and I'm hoping it's backwards compatible enough to where it's good and they don't just put out like how to convert charts out, because that's annoying as fuck.
Yeah. How have the how like for the more like for 5th edition, how have the like campaign books been? Because I know they're still pushing those out.
Oh, they're terrible. There's a couple good ones. It really depends on who the creative director of it is. Like, Curse of Strahd is such a good story, but it's a terrible source book. Like, the 5th edition Curse of Strahd, you have to read that thing cover to cover 3 or 4 times to understand what's happening. But the space one, where you just like have ships that can fly through galaxies and shit. The campaign book for
Pirates?
Say again?
Space pirates?
Yeah, space pirates. But the pre-built campaign book they have for that setting is very well laid out. It's laid out to where each chapter is a session. So it's like 14 4-hour sessions. You only have to worry about what's in your one chapter for your session. The story, there's a very good like preview of what should happen in the story and what the options are. But it's like, these are where your different spider webs could go, but they all are very well done and lead to one spot. Like, it's something I would definitely like to be a player on. It's very well thought out. And then the Dragonlance one is like they beat a toddler with a crayon. Like, it's terrible. So I think from what I've noticed, it's really based on who the creative director is or the lead director of the campaign book. Because, like, and I'm not saying that any of the other editions' campaign books were better, because 3.5 campaign books were damn near useless. Just because your players had too much freedom, man. You'd be like, all right, we're going to go into this cobalt fucking cave, and we're going to fight a dragon at the end, and it's going to be levels 1 through 5. The first thing to do is chase squirrels around and end up going into the plains where there are no caves or kobolds, because one of them wants a bugbear fur. Like, 3.5 was the Wild West.
I mean, not just with that, the amount of source book material and different books and how many they came out with. There was a book for fucking everything. That was also $45 at the bookstore.
Dude, I donated all my books to a game store in Jacksonville before I left, all my 3.5. And the crowd that I gathered walking in with like 4 Rubbermaid containers of 3.5 bucks.
All the sweaty people got thirsty.
Dude, can I buy those off you? No, I'm donating them. My buddy's the manager here. I told him I'd donate them before I move, but I'll give you $200 right now. Yeah, that's like $3, my man. I'm just gonna donate them. I'm not worried about it. Like, It was bad. But from what my buddy's telling me, they're used weekly. So he's already had to replace a couple just because they got fucked up from overuse.
That's dope.
And for anybody that's curious, the space stuff that we were talking about is Spelljammers.
Yeah, not the planes hopping one. I haven't dug into that yet. Because there's Spelljammers, and then, which is you travel through space, and then there's a plane hopping module for 5th edition where you don't fly around into space, you just teleport different planes of existence.
Right.
Which is kind of what the space one is, what Spelljammers is. You just take a ship through space. It's weird. Yep. it's basically the same thing from what I gather, but the mode of travel is different. But yeah, that's probably the next set I'll get, because I have Eberron stuff. Faerun is Forgotten Realms, for you untrained heathens, is the standard now. They got rid of Greyhawk. I have Dragonlance, I have the Ravenloft stuff, and I have the Spelljammer stuff. So I think the Plains one is the next set I'll probably dig into.
All right, then.
Yeah. And Aaron's got me all excited to run another game, so expect invites in the next 2 months.
If you're
at that table.
Yeah.
If you're willing to take on an online character, then yeah.
Yeah, that's we're gonna have to, just because there's not reliable players out here that I'm willing to invite into my house.
I could absolutely understand that one.
But I know you're a reliable player, just like I know BiPoe's a reliable player. So both of you will receive invites.
I was just about to say you could hit me up, and you were speaking about Planescape. I think is the
Planescape. That is it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's the general, because Planescape is made up of, I believe, 3 or 4 books.
Yeah.
Like small modules, so it's all one that I don't know if they're all like coinciding with each other, but like you go to like Merkimers, which is like
Merkimers.
yeah, like those like frog kind of people, if I remember. And then you go to like other planes, and Spelljammer is like the actual. Exactly. I just don't want to like mix those two, because I don't want to like get yelled at by online people.
You don't want to enrage the sweaty people?
No, because you get the sweaty D&D nerds, which won't do too much, but then you have the sweaty WoW players, which like the odor is just strong enough to like scare me. So I don't want to get yelled at by 2 different ends. Just like smelly, sweaty people.
I would argue the sweaty D&D players would be more dangerous than the sweaty WoW players.
So it depends.
Some of the sweaty D&D players I have played with over the years when we were much younger guys, like teenage years, and they were just these old crackle-looking men, and just like looked like they had done way too many drugs, and you get a conversation and you could tell they did way too many drugs. But they were just like obsessed with D&D. Because it was just like this whole other world and stuff. So I would argue that the worst of the D&D nerds might be worse than the worst of the WoW nerds.
So physical confrontation, I'd take a WoW nerd over a D&D nerd. Online confrontation, I'd take a D&D nerd before I'd take a WoW nerd. Because that WoW nerd knows some shit. And he's going to get into your computer. And he's going to find your deepest, darkest secrets. He's going to post that shit on Twitter.
He's just gonna post a series of number, and you're gonna be like, "Ah, shit! I guess it's time to move."
Yeah, it's like this state's no longer for me. I'm moving to Kansas or North Dakota.
So was your point being the ones you would fight?
Physically, I would fight a WoW nerd.
Yeah, it's fair. That's okay. That's where I'm going with the same thing. I'd fight a WoW nerd. A D&D nerd, it's very hit or miss. Some of them I've met some really bad ones that I probably should not have been hanging out with at 17 years old, but you know.
To go a little off topic, for some reason talking about fighting WoW or D&D nerds, have you ever been posed the question, because I've seen it pop up on a couple of like videos I watch, but also it's popped up in normal and like regular conversations I'm having. And it's about like, how many kids do you think you could fight? But I'm going to change it to, how many D&D nerds do you think you could physically fight before it gets too much?
Depends on what type. What type of D&D nerd?
Me personally, probably 2. I think I can get away with 2. 3, there's just too many. They're adults. So
I'll put it like non like Joe Manganiello. Like I'm talking about like the most stereotypical D&D nerd, because I know a bunch of buff, scary. They're scary because they're super buff and toned, but they're nice guys. So I'm talking about like the most generic ones, not like the, oh god, this man benches 500 and can punch a hole through me and a wall and another person in one punch.
then I'd go 3 and or an infinite amount, because it really depends on how you start that. If you just dome the first one, the rest of them aren't going to come after you.
I was about to say, like, I grew up scrappy. I'm not afraid to like break someone's throat or punch somebody in the dick.
Yeah, no, right.
Oh,
Fair.
yeah, I'm
How many of them are going to
hospitalizing
cast
these.
spells?
Oh,
Yeah.
Like
How many-
I'm not. I'm gonna like square up for a split second and then just like fight dirty. Because if I'm
Yeah.
fighting, why?
it's true.
Yeah, and
I'm not in a ring. I'm not gonna play by the rules.
and here's my argument on that whole topic for you with you, Beans, and this goes for Kain as well, and maybe Poe. No matter what happens, the reason I'm going to fight dirty because I want to end this quickly. Because the longer this goes on, the definite chance that nobody's going to win this. I might beat your ass. I will still be in just as much pain tomorrow.
You're not wrong.
Oh yeah,
If we're getting older, like I am not going to be able to get out of bed the next day myself. So if I can end it quickly, I will.
I'm gonna duck down to punch somebody in the dick. I'm gonna blow my back out and not be able to stand back up, and just fight and just punch people's knees out.
For some reason, I could just
Just
imagine
bite their
some of the
legs
more,
off.
Yeah. I can imagine some of the more hardcore D&D sweaty nerds as a D&D sweaty nerd. So like, if anyone gets offended, like shit, take a joke. I feel like some of them would try to actually cast spells, and those are the ones that I could probably mess up the most because like. I don't think I could because I just feel too bad for them. Like, you're actually trying to cast a spell right now, and I don't know if you know.
At that point, they become a goal, and I just want to like go up to them and give them a paper cut.
And if you're offended, please post a comment in the comments about how you're offended. Boom. Just push the show.
I'm going to go on a limb and say 20 plus years of playing this game, we've become legacies.
It's true. We also
Yeah, you guys have been playing.
we also
since
grew up
before.
in like the golden age of D&D. It was like just before it was
Yeah.
super popular, but it was popular enough where the Kinko's guy would let us play.
Right.
And it was like pretty open to just about anybody that wanted to get in. So you had
Yeah, I mean
all walks of life joining your games.
that's valid. Like I started playing D&D because of a comic book shop, and then within a year, I was playing D&D with a group of people in a Books a Million.
And look at us, we're still hanging out.
Wait, can I ask a question? And this is to not like show your ages or whatnot. What years did y'all play D&D? Because I swore y'all played it kind of either during the like kind of towards the tail end of the Satanic Panic, or like kind of in the middle of that.
We're not that
I
old.
started.
Fuck.
I started in 03. It was, I think,
Okay.
my very first year of playing D&D that summer.
For some reason, I thought you guys. Again, I think it's just because how years work. I'm still not understanding that it's the 2020s.
I mean,
I'm like, oh,
I was-
1980 was like 20 years ago, and it's not. It's 40 years
Oh.
ago.
while
Yeah.
I am getting old, that was in the 80s, my dude. Like I was born
Yeah.
in the 80s.
No, that's why I'm like, I think my time kind of got messed up there. So I'm like, huh, I swore. But I'm like, no, not really.
I was going to say, like, out of
Also,
Florida. out of our original bunch, I think like I was the youngest, so I think like I started playing. I want to say like the last year of middle school or my freshman year of high school, so I want to say like 03, 04 for me.
All right.
Man,
Yeah,
you guys
it
are
was also
making me feel
all-
older now.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
I remember,
I mean, the days when you had hair, Kane.
right?
Wow.
Damn.
Back in
Yeah,
them
we
old
were-
days.
Back in the days.
Wore the same Ozzy Osbourne shirt every single day.
I had
In a
5
trench
of them.
coat.
I remember making a character with voles at Books A Million, and then 9/11 happened that next Tuesday or Thursday, and then Books A Million was closed for remembrance. And I was pissed because I was a middle schooler, didn't understand what was going on, and I was just like, I want to try D&D.
How
Dude, I
dare
remember
terrorists
being
attack
in
so I
middle
can't play
school
D&D?
in my math class when that happened.
Now,
I don't remember what class I was in, but I remember going back to the homeroom and being in there for the next 6 hours, watching this live broadcast on the freaking rollout TV, and I'm just like the whole time thinking, like, why are we watching this?
yeah,
I can make you guys feel real old if you want.
I am.
you weren't
I am
alive
so
for
young.
9/11?
No, I was in. I kind of. I vaguely remember the day just because I was in pre-K. So
Well, that's not too
Yeah.
bad.
yeah,
But yeah,
I
they
remember pretty well that classroom that I was sitting in.
they
Mom.
definitely made us watch it all fucking day.
Yeah.
And you had all the parents, you had all the kids whose parents were like at least well off or cared enough to come get their children from school so they're not sitting here watching it the entire day. Not my mom.
Yeah, I got left in school.
Yeah.
And I remember having that same thought too, because I was stuck in class and like we were watching the footage of these two buildings get destroyed. But being in middle school, being a child, like in Florida, when this happened, I also didn't even know what the fuck these buildings were. So I was just like, what is happening? What is this? What is that?
Yeah,
Right.
I thought it was a new Die Hard movie until our teacher explained it to us. I was like, oh,
Oh
sweet.
my god.
It's like, oh, this
The third one had planes. I thought it was just the next possible thing. Probably shouldn't have been a middle schooler that knew all three Die Hards by heart, but you know, teach his own.
hey, Christmas movie.
The first one's a Christmas movie, okay?
I don't know if I'm surprised about that information from you, Kane.
Do you remember watching the dude jump out and the news, like the news that was playing it, started
Oh,
circling him? And I was like, you see this guy? He's just fucking it.
Dude, it was a rough day. Looking
He
back
just
on
yeeted
it,
himself.
and knowing what it caused for the next 22 years, like it's a rough thing to remember. Even though when it was happening, we were kids, we didn't understand what was going on. We just wanted to play our video games to get the school day over with. But like,
But no
knowing now, it's a rough thing.
wonder our
absolutely.
generation is so fucked up.
Well, that and the internet.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Mostly the internet.
yeah, I did get payback. I played some D&D in Afghanistan, so fuck them.
Fair enough.
Well, that's one perspective.
Yeah, it's all about the ups, man. You never want to worry about the downs. Unless they have downs, then you want to worry about them. So they're just strong. They're cool as shit, but they're strong.
Were you able to play the character you created that you weren't able to play because of 9/11?
Yeah, so we got like the next couple days off school. I think we went back to school. If I remember right, it happened on a Thursday. We went back to school that Friday, took the weekend, and then we had like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. Because it was, you got to think like the day after, it took all day for that to happen. The day after, they really didn't know what was going on. But by like Sunday, we had like figured out Bin Laden's favorite goat and dropped a bomb on it. Like it was very quick. So they gave us a couple days off school because in where we were living, it was a big military community, so a lot of fathers and mothers didn't know what the next step was. Because like Bush just started, he was like, figure out who the fuck did this. We're gonna fuck up that entire side of the planet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was a wild day. Cause it did,
Were you in
huh?
Were you in Florida yet when that happened?
Yeah, I had just moved back.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd only been going to that school for like 3 weeks at the time.
Damn.
But yeah, let's move on to more D&D stuff. So Discord and Roll20 are integrating.
I've only used Roll20 once, so I don't have a lot of experience with it. I've heard it's good.
It's not the
So Roll20 used to be, in my opinion, a little bit better than what it is today.
Hmm.
But it's a really cool free site to actually do some digital mapping and playing.
that's
My only,
I was gonna say that's the key statement. Free.
yeah. And my gripe with Roll20, which I understand why they do it, but like they have all of their own books or all of the content that's out for 5e, they have in their own digital library. So, for example, if you've invested in D&D Beyond or any other platform already,
Hmm.
Roll20 will not integrate with it.
Oh.
They do make it very possible for you to manually create your own character sheets and still have it. But you literally have to like go into the character sheets and do a little bit of coding so that when you decide to roll a dice, it rolls it correctly with every little thing. So like if you're playing a simple fighter or monk character, no big deal. If you would decide you want to play a bard or a wizard, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Damn.
Very true. But as far as like DM's tools go, and then I pay for the yearly membership, so I have access to a bunch of books. I'm like grandfathered in to when it was like $8 a year. But it's you get access from a DM's perspective to so much stuff, and mind you, that stuff exists on more paid platforms, and better versions of it do exist. But it's still like you don't have to pay the yearly or monthly subscription if you're okay with just like putting in the work.
Okay.
You could do everything you can do with the subscription, but you have to do it. You're not just clicking shit.
Okay. Fair enough. Hats off to L5R for pioneering that shit.
Right? But yeah, I'm kind of excited for it because the chat on Roll20 is probably the worst among the ones I've tried. So everyone that uses Roll20 just uses Discord anyway. But with them integrating, it'll be cool because you can set up a chat room. This is all allegedly from the hints I've read on Reddit. You could set up a chat room for your game, and like you just have to go into the chat room, and the DM can run it off Roll20, and it automatically integrates into Discord. So like it shows in your Discord, like voice chat and video chat feed, it shows the table. It's got preset up for the characters. There's a DM spot. Like apparently they're working to actually come up with good tools for the integration, not just integrating chat.
That is going to be really fucking cool. And I know, and especially since I know Discord gaming and online gaming in regards to tabletops is such a huge thing now. And so becoming
it's
such a popular thing.
Yep. People pay for DMs now. Like groups of friends will get together and just pay a DM like $50-$60 a session to run a session for them and their friends.
I follow a couple of people on social media who do that, and that's what they are. They're just professional DMs.
Shoot, fortunately, like where we currently are, we have quite a few game stores around us, and they each have either a whiteboard or a like a particle board where you can thumbtack whether you're looking for a table to join or you're a DM looking for players or whatnot. And there's a few on there where there's DM saying, "Hey, I charge this much and I'm willing to run a game for up to 6 people, and it's whatever platform you want, but I will be a paid consistent DM for you and your friends." And it's gotten a lot of traction from what I've seen in the past 2 years.
You know, that seems like the life, but being a forever DM, it's a lot of work. Like, I got to make sure I'm in a good place at work before I'll take on another game. It's a lot of work. This world
It's
I
understandable, though.
this world I built for the game I want to run, I'm what, like 7 months into building that?
Yeah, because you started that just shortly after you got here.
Yeah. Like it's work. And just like creating functional towns that have like inns and shops and stuff like that, and having like, because you don't just want a random shopkeeper. Everyone's seen Vox Machina. They want a shopkeeper that's sassy. So now you got to have a shopkeeper backstory, and you got to hope they go into that shop. And then you got to have 4 or 5 inns that are very similar. Like each inn's got to have its own thing going on. Now everyone expects fucking guilds. So you got to have like a thieves guild because they played Skyrim once for an hour. Like, and then with Diablo 3 popping out, or not Diablo 3, Jesus.
4.
No, Baldur's Gate 3. Everyone has a super high expectation of what D&D is going to be. And mind you, good on them. If you find a DM that can do that skill level, you got to fucking keep her. But like
Facts.
Baldur's Gate 3 was such a good storyline, and there was so much stuff to do that these people that are coming off that game going into D&D they started at the top. They're gonna have a rocky road of D&D until they find the right group.
That is completely fair. I see where you're coming from on that one. Yeah, they didn't have to muck it through the slums like we did, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm a great DM or a good DM for any stretch of the imagination, but like the only reason I picked it up is I wanted to play, and nobody wanted to be DM. I've just been going ever since.
I've gotten to the point to where, like, this is gonna sound silly, but I like calling myself a co-DM because I will handle all the bullshit on the table because I know the work that my DM is putting into building this world, and if I can handle the table bullshit and let them handle the world, I feel like that's a good trade.
Yeah, so to caveat onto that, like, also they're not going to be good players. Because being a DM is hard, takes a lot of work to do, but being a good player is just as hard and takes just as much work, but it's not work you think about. Like, being a DM is a lot of prep and, like, hopes and dreams that your players are going to crush. So you want players to kind of be able to be like, okay, I see where he's trying to go, let's follow. Also, like, I'm going to handle my character sheet, I'm going to handle my own leveling up, I'm going to check in with the DM, like a trust but verify thing, but I'm also going to, like, know what to roll. I'm not going to need 4 people yelling at me different dice and be confused. Right. Like, as a player, you still have to do just as much research, but it's a skill set you have to learn over time versus being a DM is a lot of upfront work and then you work personality.
And also, on top of that, as someone who is both a DM and a player on a semi-consistent basis, because the one downside to D&D is getting a regularly scheduled committed group, the aspect that people don't... Wait, we all know D&D is a role-playing game, but that is a point that marks... And I'm not saying like all good players or all bad players do or don't have this. It's not just the understanding, oh, my ability is like 2d10 plus 2d6, so I'm rolling all that and I'm adding this number. It's the interactions between players, making sure you're not monopolizing the time, or if you're going to be a bard that's going to be like one of the funny people, make sure like your timing is correct. Make sure your interactions...
Make sure you're funny.
Yeah.
Make sure like your interactions and your role playing, it makes sense for your character.
Don't
like,
you ever come at me and say I say something funny.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. As a DM, if you say I'm going to say something funny and that's it, and be like, okay, sure, and then you're going to tell me something funny.
Well, you got a -15 to your roll. Do it.
Yeah, but it is just
sorry.
Yeah, it is just that it's understanding who, like, what kind of character or player you just want to be, and what kind of character made off of that.
Mm-hmm.
And not all. Even though a lot of the D&D shorts or D&D TikTok people I see are like this, they play on the stereotypes of each class. Understand, at least with 5e, when we were talking about it, you have so much role-playing freedom and like role-playing like creation. So like your backgrounds, there's custom backgrounds, or like this, you're not slated to be, oh, the barbarian is like the dumb big guy that makes big damage, or the bard is like the horny funny guy. So it is just like this balance of knowing what you want to play and what you want to bring to the table.
Well, that also goes back to what Kain was saying, is like that's going to be an easy thing to figure out with all these new players, because it's not going to be you're not so much getting a new player who's excited about all the customization or excited about creating this huge line backstory character. Because honestly, the art of storytelling and the art of improv is dying out with, I feel like, with the age of the internet. Because
Bro,
you don't got to. You can edit everything into it if you want nowadays.
talking about player backgrounds, you know how many times I have to tell a new player, you can't have 10 years of background. You're level 1. You're like 15.
Or you're just super old. I've played super old characters that are level 1, and they're like, fuck it, I'm old, I'm gonna die soon, let me be an adventurer. It's
Yeah,
like the,
and that's okay. That just means you've
Yeah.
lived a mundane life.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Character's
like
boring as fuck.
Yeah, it's like these. I understand. I actually know where you're going. It's like this person, like, yeah, I've been in battle for 15 years. I've led things. I'm like, brother, you're level 1. The most you ever did was like get the water for the chieftain. But if you want to be a warrior, you can be a warrior.
But hey, man, it's cool that they're getting into it, but it's definitely going to be a big learning curve, because you're going to have all the dumb barbarians and all these things, or the people, or it's going to go the complete opposite way, and somebody's like, I'm gonna be a smart barbarian. I was like, good luck.
Dude, if you build the character right, go for it.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what you do, just don't die.
Hey, there is a subclass for a wizard barbarian. It exists.
I mean, there's
You're talking about the
if there can be
Arcana one?
fucking ogre mages, there can be anything in this world. Also, fuck ogre mages. They suck.
So
Yeah, you just be a shaman or just a rage mage.
s-
Yeah, rage mage. Like there's there's a barbarian
mage.
class that
Oh,
pretty much
what?
gives you the brain fart. Pretty much the random magic
Wild magic surge.
yes,
Oh, you're
that
talking about the
thing.
new barbarian that when you rage, you roll a d10, and based on the roll, you have X amount happen.
Yeah.
They're letting you be a wild magic barbarian.
Yeah, that is a new thing, but there is actually a
Yay.
UA rage mage class that I played.
Fucking love wild magic.
Yeah,
It is chaos incarnate.
yeah.
And I love Chaos Gremlin at the table. So like if that's something you want to run, I will help you run
But-
it, but I'm gonna go full chaos.
It makes for such a fun character build, but like everybody's gonna hate you. There's no getting around that.
yeah,
It's gonna suck, but it is so much fun to play.
you got to have the right players and the right DM if you're going to do
These
that.
people are never gonna game with you again if you pull out a wild magic anything.
Yeah.
Especially 3.5 wild magic, where you have that giant fucking list of different things based on your percentage roll.
Wild magic is so tamed in 5e unless you want to tweak with the rules.
Fuck
Is the
that.
DM
That's not the point of wild magic.
Yeah, the DM decides when you roll your d20. You're like, oh, I cast a spell. DM's like, okay, roll a d20, and you have to get a 1 on. If you're going like base rolls, you have to roll a 1 for it to pop. Anything else is fine. So
Bro, you're talking to somebody who used to love using critical failure dice as well.
Oh, I remember. I got my character head decapitated. I remember.
I love throwing chaos into games. It's just fun for me.
Yeah.
Critical failure dice, just D&D on hard mode.
That's a new trend. I know we keep talking. That's a new trend. I've been watching a lot of hardcore Minds of Fandel for our hardcore Sunless Citadel or Tales of Yawning Portal.
All right,
Like hard. Yeah.
we have been talking D&D for a while, and there's 2 more subjects I want to get to.
Okay. What are we starting off with next then?
This one will be a quick one, and I know none of you play this retarded game.
I played it for a bit.
No, Escape from Tarkov Cash Grab.
Oh, never mind.
Did you guys hear about this?
No, I did not play that stupid game.
So I dabbled in it.
I watched you, which is why I didn't play it.
It's fair. So they came out with the game, and they were regularly releasing DLCs, and I think it was $100 or $150. You could buy all the DLCs, and one of the bullet points in that package was all future DLCs and just general extra stuff is free. So it was like a one-time buy-in. You get everything moving forward for Tarkov for free. They got rid of that about a month ago, and the player base lost their shit.
Really?
Yeah, not because a bunch of players lost stuff they already had, because a bunch of players were like, where is this going? So earlier this month, they released a new $250 definitive edition, which comes with everything that's out so far, but it also comes with PvE settings and the arena mode, which is only in that $250 one. So if you already had the previous one, you don't even have access to the new shit without spending $250. Or say you bought every expansion and DLC separately and you didn't buy the previous everything expansion. Now you still have to pay $250. So no matter what you did before, the next expansion or DLC is $250.
That's some bullshit.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah, that seems to be what everyone is saying.
I say that's gonna kill their player base because it's no longer the only game of its kind anymore. There are other ones that came out which I've heard are also good.
So there's one that came out today. I think it's called Gray Man. The Gray Man on Steam. It's like $20 or $40, and it's not as good as Tarkov was, but it's an early access game, and apparently it's as good as Tarkov was when Tarkov first hit early access or beta because they didn't sell it on Steam. So there's a lot of like growth you can do throughout the game.
Okay. Well, I think they're going to lose a lot of their player base.
Yeah.
That's too much. Like, I get games are getting expensive, especially with the coming out of fucking Skull and Bones for fucking $80.
Quadruple A game, baby.
Bro.
Yeah.
That's way too much money for anything.
Game.
Each A is worth $20. But yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up because that's the current vogue topic in the video game space, at least in my video game space. And then the next one was Switch 2 leaks. Have you guys seen any of these?
I have, and I'm really excited.
I haven't.
Oh, that game's called Gray Zone Warfare, not The Gray Man. The Gray Man's a horror movie game from last year. But, so, Switch 2 leaks popped up. I don't know how true they are, but they're pretty mild, so I would tend to trust them. Going from a 7-inch screen to an 8-inch screen, still OLED. Going to 1080p on the screen instead of 720. Backwards compatible with all current gen Switch games and 4K docking station.
Are they going to take the removable Joy-Cons away, it looks like, and turn it into much more like a handheld console?
So the Joy-Cons have been a bit of a problem since the original Switch released.
The Joy-Cons suck. That's why everybody had to go with the Switch Pro controllers. I get it, though.
I think that's the expectation is if you play it docked, you're going to play with a Switch Pro controller or a third-party controller.
So from what I'm gathering from this, they will probably start going into more live service online games. They're probably going to try to, in my opinion, just based off what it looks like, what I see here, where the Joy-Cons are integrated, they're going to get away from the party platform system. And try to get into the live service online gaming, because it is much more of a cash grab than the party system it's been for so many years now. So it's actually, that also means it's getting away from its roots finally.
Local multiplayer, the Switch was the only thing keeping that alive.
It was, and that's what I mean by that.
So it would make sense that they're kind of going away from that, which good on them. Like, Nintendo's always been kind of behind the times while also being ahead of the curve. Because, like, the PlayStation was arguably better than the 64, but all of us had 64s. But yeah, like, probably more multiplayer, live service. And I'm pretty okay with it. Like,
I am too.
I have a first-gen Switch from when they first released it. That thing is still kicking. I had to change the fans in the dock, but that thing is still kicking hard.
Fortunately, I haven't had any issues with mine.
Yeah, the Switch was the best new thing they came out with in a long time.
It's the only new thing they came out with in a long time. I don't think they've even come out with a Game Boy since Switch.
There was that Nintendo U.
That was pre-Switch.
Yeah, but it wasn't that long before the Switch came out because it bombed hard.
Well, yeah, I was trying to float between the Switch. It was a weird thing floating between what they wanted the Switch to be and what the Wii was.
Yeah.
And it didn't make sense. One, it wasn't backwards compatible with the Wii games. They didn't release a new Mario for it. They didn't release a new Zelda for it. Like, they didn't have any of their heavy hitters at launch. And two, it was just a weird time in technology. Like, the technology wasn't good enough to have a Switch yet, for obvious reasons, but it wasn't even good enough to have a Wii U yet. Know what I mean?
Yeah. I see what you mean on that one.
Like, being a techno nerd, I get why the Wii U failed. But without the Wii U, you wouldn't have the Switch.
I can agree with that.
We would have gotten to the Switch eventually, though.
Eventually, but it would have taken a lot longer, and it would have probably come out a lot closer to the time as, like, the Steam Deck and shit like that, and all the new mini handheld consoles.
Yeah.
But we are going back to our roots. These are just new age fucking Game Boys, boys and girls.
Dude, my Steam Deck, I fucking love that thing. I wish I had held out for a Legion Pro. I really like the Legion Pros, but they're a generation ahead of the Steam Deck, and they wouldn't fucking exist without the Steam Deck. So, and the Steam Deck is more powerful than my gaming laptop. Just is.
Well, it's also because you have an old gaming laptop now.
Yeah.
It's definitely hitting that old man status.
It most definitely is. Let's see. So we had SNES and Game Boy, 64 in color, GameCube and Advanced.
And then there was the Sega game handheld.
The Game Gear?
The Game Gear.
Fucking 200 AA batteries later.
That one had the best graphics out of all of them, though, at the time.
Dude, I remember having one of these back in the day.
That thing was huge.
This was like, I went from an Atari to this fucking Game Gear.
The Game Gear was the shit. It was basically
that's a hell of a good jump, though, man. That's quite a few generations of graphics right there.
It is, but I also missed out on like the OG Nintendo and all that stuff back when it was actually out. Like, I got into it later when I found one in a flea market and that kind of stuff as a kid. But like, I was all over the place.
Bro,
I never had one of those. I did have a Saturn at one point, though.
You need some Contra in your life if you missed SNES.
Oh, I've played the fuck out of some Contra. I've had an SNES.
Okay, I was about to buy that shit for you on Steam right now. It's $4. That was like a pull the trigger.
That was such a good fucking game, man.
Yeah.
And they redid them not too many years ago too, so they updated the graphics a little bit, as much as you could with that game.
Yeah, they didn't Final Fantasy VII it, but they definitely they made it playable on something that's bigger than 8 inches.
Yeah.
All right. Durka. Let's do some Star Wars news, and then we'll do some music news, and then we'll get the fuck off of here.
We gotta do our Helldivers news of the week.
Oh yeah, Helldivers. Termicide backfired. We're fucked. They also nerfed a bunch of stuff, but they made a bunch of more stuff better. But yeah, the Termicide backfired. We all kind of knew it was coming, but don't tell my local managed democracy inquisitor. Okay.
Dude, they did buff a bunch of stuff though too.
Yeah, I could.
The scythe is stronger.
I couldn't get the hate. Everyone was bitching about like the 5 things they nerfed, and I was like, but they made everything else so much better.
Just because they nerfed the 5 things people are using the most of.
I don't give a fuck about the meta.
The Quasar cannon got nerfed, and that's why they're fucking bitching. But yeah, it's made a bunch of things better though. A lot of the newer guns got better as well.
Get good, noob.
That's exactly what it is.
Hey, but at least now all the arc-based weapons count towards your shots fired and shots hit stats.
Did they finally fix that?
Now I can't end a match with 0 shots fired and 300 and some odd kills.
That shit was fucking hilarious.
Did they fix the issue where if you shoot a bug and you're within at least 500 kilometers of a teammate, it kills the teammate yet?
No, never.
That's part of the charm.
That's a characteristic.
It is still burned in my brain when we were playing with Scorch. He shot a bug. I shit you not. The bug was in the middle. It was like one of the like kill all bugs things. So it was like in the middle of the arena. He was on one side. I was on the opposite side. And I just get domed randomly and I die. I'm like, okay.
Again, get good, noob.
I guess I just have to.
Armor.
Yeah.
I guess I just have to learn how to parry arc.
I love how it had to be that so many people died from arc throwers that they made an entire fucking armor set in the War Bond dedicated to not dying from that fucking gun.
I think I like that more. Instead of them fixing the issue?
A full squad of 4 all in the resistant armor, just like ping-ponging off of each other.
Everything.
Like a walking lightning storm.
Yeah, because it still arcs off of you. It just doesn't kill you.
Right.
Oh, and then you add do they call it was it Tesla Tower?
That thing is amazing.
You just throw one of those. Oh my god, we all just have to now just get Tesla Towers arc throwers and just
put a wall of towers up.
Bro, when Scorch first got that armor, he wore it with us, and I was just like, I just kept unloading arcs, and he was like, "You're hitting me." I was like, "Yeah, I was not doing any damage. You're fine."
Well, it does do damage, and we found out the hard way that we have exactly 7 hits before he dies.
I knew it did damage, but not that much. I watched their health mostly.
I forget I'm playing with you guys sometimes. Credence Clearwater Revival starts playing in my head, and I just start murdering everything. Like I'm kind of excited if they release spaceships. I'm like 99% sure that was somebody else that did it. It's not actually from the developers, but the video of them doing like space battles was kind of dope.
Yeah,
I want it to be a thing. I want to go back to like the days of the original Battlefront 2, where you can just go dock on their giant destroyer and go fucking wreck shit.
Hell yeah.
How much fun would that be? We'd be getting fucking Star Wars, essentially the Star Wars universe now, like feeling.
Well, they fucked up Battlefront so hard.
Yeah, they did. I had so much hope for that. I even did buy the new one, and it just didn't feel right.
It's one of those, like, it's a historical game. You're never gonna get the same feeling you got when the first time you played it. Much like Heroin.
Oh god.
Moving on.
Let's go ahead and do one more topic, and then we'll call it a night.
So you mentioned Star Wars earlier.
I mentioned Star Wars. We can hit that one real quick. Star Wars Hunters is basically, it's just Fortnite for Star Wars, from what I gathered. They're calling it an arena combat game, but what I looked at was definitely like a PvE, player versus everyone, not player versus environment. Like,
what I'm seeing, it's like one of those mobile arena games, kind of like the Marvel games.
Oh, I didn't know it was mobile. That makes it even worse.
Yeah,
no, I will never play it.
Damn.
So it's coming out on Android, iOS, and Nintendo Switch.
I will probably never play it. I I really hate phone games. I can't get into them. I don't like looking at my phone that much.
I just don't like being asked for money that much.
Also
Yeah.
that.
Facts.
But the subject I wanted to get to, because music is one of our subject matters, did y'all see Slipknot's tiny 25th anniversary show?
No, but I need to.
I am fucking excited about it.
I watched it today on my lunch break. It was like a 50-minute set. They basically announced the morning of their show where they'll be at for a venue, no warning, nothing. The venue immediately sold out. They also made the tickets non-transferable so they wouldn't be scalped. And they threw like an 800-seat venue show. Dude, I wish I could have been a part of that.
That would have been
Dang,
amazing.
Especially for the song lineup that they played. Like, it's like OG Iowa Slipknot that just came out onto the stage and played. And like, they did not have a click track. They did not have in-ear monitors. Like, they went back to like 90s metal, just playing on stage and just listening to each other. And then I got to geek out about this real quick. Not only did they do that show, but they also had their brand new drummer playing with them. And it's the drummer from Sepultura. And if you're familiar with that metal band, he is like the god of metal drummers.
Oh my god, it is all old stuff.
And
Mostly all old stuff.
this entire set was played without a metronome, without a click track, because of how good this drummer is. And I'm so excited. Like, the previous drummer they had, Jay, was phenomenal. He's such a good drummer. But like, as far as taking Slipknot back to its just OG like metal Iowa days, I think with Eloy they're gonna just nail it.
I do know that they introduced brand new masks at this show. That is
Yes.
one I did read about that, and I did just look up the set list. That looks that Pioneer Town, California.
Yeah, some small ass no name town too.
What the fuck? Tickets were only $9.
Yep.
Yeah, it was literally like a 400-person show. Like, it was
850 is what it says here.
That includes staff.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, would have been an awesome show. I'm glad they did semi-professional filming of it because I either the person with the cell phone as a savant and was climbing on shit, or they had actual like camera setups. But it was a pretty good show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Brought me back to my high school days, sneaking into Slipknot concerts.
yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of Slipknot these past 2 weeks, so I'm fucking here for this.
Yeah, check it out. I'll try to dig up the YouTube I watched at work off my work computer tomorrow and throw it in the chat. But yeah, man.
No, that looks amazing. I can't wait to watch that whole fucking set.
You guys want to call it?
We can call it, man.
All right.
Yeah.
We got almost 2 hours in.
Yeah. Going pretty long on this one. BiPoe, you want to do our shout outs?
Sure. You guys, everyone listening can always catch us on Spotify at The Depths of Jigoku, same at YouTube and Twitter. We release our episodes usually 6 a.m. Friday, so that way on your morning work you can just listen to us ramble on, or during your work you can ramble on. If you have anything you want us to talk about, hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on YouTube comments, Spotify comments, and also let us know what we can improve of. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thanks, guys. And always remember, just be good to each other. Look out for the homies.
And don't be afraid to reach out to those around you.
I got one more plug. If you want to advertise, email what's on the screen. And if you want to join us in one of our hour-and-a-half long rants, shoot us an email. We'll give you a little interview. If we think you're cool, you can hop on for an episode. All right, guys.
Peace out, everybody.
Yeah, peace out.
Always a pleasure.
Peace out.